Howdy fam, welcome to episode 3 of Danger Fruit. This week, we've got a sci-fi film from the 21st century, The Dark Tower.
Wait, I thought this channel reviewed old westerns.
You're not wrong, we do. However, we want to talk about movies and how they were influenced by the 20th century genre juggernaut and how it impacted and influenced movies of the time and also how it impacts and influences movies of present day. So The Dark Tower debuted in 2017. It was directed by Nikolaj Ansel. And it's based on the Dark Tower book series penned by the wildly famous Stephen King. One last thing before we get started. Do as you please, but maybe before you have a family movie night, Google the monsters real quick just to get an idea of the creatures you're going to come in contact with during this movie. They are creepy, they are violent, and they are out for blood. This movie is littered with cameos. Twins from The Shining, Hotel from The Shining, the family from Cujo, the car from Christine, the picture from Shawshank Redemption, the abandoned old theme park in the alternate universe, Pennywise theme park, the portal number that Jake needs to remember to return, 1408. So this kid Jake is having wild dreams about this man in black who's trying to destroy a tower, the Dark Tower. His dreams seem to be coinciding with earthquakes in the area, and he's also drawing sketches of the things that he sees in his dreams, and people, undoubtedly, think that this kid is losing his friggin' mind. So in one of these dreams, Jake sees a father and son, Idris Elba and that guy from the State Farm commercials. They're gunslingers, and their mission is to stop the Man in Black. Then he has another one about a house, which he goes to, and then enters, and finds a portal, in which we get to the alternate universe, and that's where we start our endeavor to stop the Man in Black. Daniel Craig, Christian Bale, Viggo Mortensen, Mads Mikkelsen, and Javier Bardem were all considered for the lead role before they cast Idris Elba. And Tom Hardy was considered for the Man in Black. So Jake finds the gunslinger. So side note, Idris Elba in some otherworldly outlaw cowboy attire, it works. Like, it totally works. So Jake has this thing called Shine, which is what the Man in Black, Matthew McConaughey, is using to destroy the tower. So if you think about it, essentially Jake showed up and basically immediately is on the run from the Man in Black because of his shine, but also is on a mission with Idris Elba to stop the Man in Black. According to Stephen King in an introduction in one of his novels, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and the Lord of the Rings series were the primary influences for the Dark Tower book series. So things flip on their head. They fight in the alternate universe, they fight on Earth, it's bananas. So some gnarly fight scenes later, Jake is captured by the Man in Black and his squad. And he uses his shine against the evildoers, and he and Roland eventually lead them to their demise. So after it's all said and done, Roland asks Jake if he wants to be an honorary gunslinger and go with him on countless, I'm sure, other adventures against evil. Jake accepts, and they go to a portal and portal off into the sunset. Roland and Jake at the end of the movie go walking by the Globe Theater, and on the marquee it says Spaghetti Week at the Majestic. This is obviously a reference to the spaghetti westerns that Clint Eastwood was in that influenced the Dark Tower book series that this movie was based on. Alright, so now is a new segment where we talk about how this is a western. Alright, so let's talk about influence. Stephen King talks about his influence for the Dark Tower series coming from the Dollars trilogy. So there's a chime that plays in the first official trailer for the movie. It's the same chime that plays in the 2 pocket watches in the movie for a few dollars more. It's a 1965 spaghetti western that stars Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleef as bounty hunters who are trying to catch a vicious gang, who then starred as antagonists against each other in a later movie in that trilogy, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly from 1966. Stephen King claims that that movie alone was half the inspiration for the Dark Tower. So next, let's talk about characters. Roland is the gunslinger. Walter, the antagonist, is the Man in Black. That's a synonymous visual indicator of antagonists in old westerns like black hats. So next we could talk about setting. Even though it's otherworldly, it does a good job of being reminiscent of the desert backdrops and landscapes that are used and popular in those gems of the past. When we first meet Roland, it's after seeing his pretty nominal campsite on top of this rock formation that looks pretty desolate. What's cool about the Dark Tower is that they use South Africa as a shooting location. This helped them have the ability to get an otherworldly kind of atmosphere, while at the same time helping them hold on to that signature Western vibe. So now we're going to go through our segment, The Good, the Bad, and the Harvest. What this segment does is basically talks about what's good, what's bad, and then what are we left to think about it. So let's start with the good. I really like the casting in this movie. I think you put Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey against each other, I'm in for that. Another thing is that there's a scene where Roland goes into a den of Walter's henchmen. Not only is it a dope shootout scene, but it also does a really good job of bringing light to what made cowboys and old westerns so great and heroic. Shining a light on how they were crafty and creative and having to do more with less because they're fighting in like desert landscapes, whether it be an actual desert or like a desert in way of scarcity for supplies, resources, ammunition, stuff like that. I think from the perspective that I'm watching these movies from and that we're talking about, I think they did a great job of shining a light on that, not only, but really doing a great job of riding that line, even given that it's in an entirely other universe. All right, so let's talk about the bad. Now, this movie is based on not just one book, but a series of books by Stephen King. And I think something that can happen is when you're watching this movie and you haven't read the books, it can leave some gaps that just can't really be cleared by someone who didn't read the books. I mean, who does that anyway? I don't. But I did also read people criticizing the movie who did read the books, who do know the story, that it really didn't actually do the greatest job sticking to the books. Now, I know from living with my wife, who's a strict books first, then movie gal, that a movie can really deteriorate under something that I would like to call maybe literary expectation. So the takeaway, I think if you want a movie to just sit down, watch, not have your brain wrung out like a wet rag, Dark Tower is going to do the trick. I thought the movie was fun and exciting. I mean, I think it also does a good job of holding to that creepiness of Stephen King's work, and it really brings the thrills in too. Overall though, I thought it was really decent, and I didn't feel like it was a total waste of my time when I finished watching the movie. And if you're a book before movie kind of person, read the books. The series was popular enough that they made a movie after it, so that's gotta be a good sign, right? Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Danger Fruit. It's custom in these parts. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe so you can keep up on everything Danger Fruit. We're on the socials, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. You should give us a follow there too so you can get the full experience. Later days, fam. See you on the trail.